Well, hello. Hello to anybody who's joining the presentation live, and also to anybody who might be watching the recording afterwards. My name's Dr. Oliver Dunnett, and I'm here to talk to you about PhD programs in geography, which is in the School of Natural and Built Environment here at Queen's. So I've got a presentation here which I'll share, and if there are any questions as I'm going through the talk, then you can feel free to put those in the chat box, and I'll keep an eye out for that. So, as I said, this is a presentation about geography and PhD postgraduate research in geography. I can talk to you about give you a brief overview of the entire discipline of geography, and I'll also be able to talk in a bit more detail about the kinds of projects that I personally would be interested in supervising, or some of the projects that I've supervised in the past. So I'll first of all I'll start with an overview, and then I'll say a bit more in detail about my research areas, and then there can be a little bit of a Q&A at the end if you have any questions that you'd like to ask me. And just to let you know that this is being recorded. Let's see. So really, geography, in case you haven't studied geography before, geography is about the study of places and the relationships between people and their environments. It's a very broad subject. It encompasses science, arts, the humanities, social sciences. There are many different areas of study that you can do in geography, and here at Queen's, we've got a wide range of expertise across various aspects of human geography, physical geography, and environmental geography. In particular, I've highlighted a few areas here that we have particular expertise in. So first of which is cultural, historical, and political geography. And I've put that in bold because that's the area which I work in. So this is about the relationship between culture, place, and space, really. So it's a sort of humanities-facing part of geography. We've got several very experienced researchers here in those areas, yeah, there's some fascinating research going on in those subjects, including at doctoral level. Some other areas that we have some expertise in are in social and applied human geography, so that's looking at things like population dynamics and development and comparative areas of poverty and that kind of thing, often using data such as census data and what you might call sort of big data. So how do we understand the sort of social geographies of not only the UK and Ireland, but all over the world, really, using these kinds of data. So that's a growing area of interest here at Queen's geography. Then, of course, moving over to physical geography, we have expertise in a variety of areas, including biodiversity, earth systems, environmental management, including also climate change and the science of climate change. I'll talk a little bit about quadrat DTP in a second. And then finally, we have geographical information science. And this is the use of basically digital mapping in order to understand and interpret the world around us, often using remote sensing information from satellites, for example. So those are the broad areas in which we specialize here at QUB Geography. I'll say a quick word about modes of funding as well. So if you want to do a PhD here with us, because, as I mentioned, geography is such a broad area, there are various ways in which you can apply for funding. probably the most sort of traditional way is for a student to put together an application to one of the UK's funding bodies. And the main ones are the AHRC, which is the Arts and Humanities Research Council, ESRC, which is the Economic and Social Research Council, and NERC, which is more science focused. Natural Environments Research Council, I believe. So that's quite an involved process. It would involve approaching an academic in the autumn, typically in the autumn of the year, working up a project, and then the culmination of that is a 750-word proposal, which is put into the application form. So actually, that's not very many words at all, and the tricky thing is getting that right, because anyone can write 1,000 words, but you have to bring it down to 750 and be really concise. It's a proper research funding application, so it does take quite a lot of work and practice, and second and third drafts. I'm involved in one at the moment, and yeah, it's quite an involved process. But anyway, and it's highly competitive as well. But if you're successful, you get told about that, I think, in the spring, and then you would start the following October. So another way of applying for funding is to go through one of the doctoral training partnerships, such as I mentioned before, Quadrat DTP. Now, this is a partnership between Queen's, Aberdeen, and I think one other university in Scotland. And so they have certain sort of ready-made projects that already have funding, and then they recruit a student to that project. So that's a bit more straightforward from the student's point of view. So you have to keep an eye out for the funded projects. I've been involved in a funded project as well, not through Quadrat, but through a partnership that I've been developing with Armagh Observatory and Planetarium. And actually, last year we applied for through a doctoral training partnership, and what's called a collaborative doctoral award to the AHRC. So we received positive funding for the project, and then we advertised for a student around this time last year, and a student applied for that project and has started in October. So that's a really exciting way of doing a PhD, and it brings me on to the third point here, which is collaborative doctoral awards. So this is where you work with a partner organisation and an academic lead on a project, and you can either work together and have a student-led project where the student leads the application, or the student applies for a project-led award, which is where the academic and the industry partner put together the funding application and then recruit the student to the project. So one of the awards which I have been successful with has been this partnership with Armagh Observatory and Planetarium, which is about half an hour south of Belfast by car. And so we put together this historical geography application, and it's been really, really successful, and I'm hoping to put together another such project as well. So those are the various modes of funding and the different areas of expertise that we have here at Queen's Geography. I'm very happy to talk more about my research areas if you want to ask anything about that. Anything to do with cultural, historical and political geography, I'm very happy to speak at length about any of those topics. If you have questions about the other areas, such as social and applied human geography, physical geography, or GIS, that's fine too, but I don't know quite as much about those areas, but I'll be able to have a go at answering some questions about that, or indeed about the process and the modes of funding as well. I'll do my best to answer any queries. So really that's it from me, and it's really over to anybody who has any questions. So if you'd either like to go ahead and tell me your question or put it in the chat, I'll do my best to answer it. I'm very, very happy to listen to any questions. And if you don't have any questions, we'll call it a day, and And if you're watching on the recording and you'd like to ask a question, feel free to email me. My name's Oliver Dunnett, and you'll be able to find me on the Queen's web pages. Yeah, we'd really welcome any inquiries about PhD applications. The main piece of advice I'd have is to think carefully about what project you might want to be doing, and also to try and make contact with an academic who is doing research in that area, and establish that link. And that's the best way to build up a project, is to establish a relationship with the potential supervisor. Also, it helps to have, if you have a very good qualification, a first-class undergraduate degree is not an essential requirement, but it would really help if you did have that first-class qualification. You can get PhD awards if you don't, but it's much harder. And actually, also a master's qualification. In some cases, it's a prerequisite. In many cases, it's not. Actually, for some of the science-based PhDs, it's often not necessary to have a master's degree. But actually, for the humanities-facing PhDs, it's often seen as highly desirable if you have an MA for that. Okay. All right. Well, I noticed a little bit of typing in the chat, but I haven't seen a question yet. So perhaps we shall leave it at that. Give you a final chance to ask a question. Seeing some typing activity, so I won't hang up Nicole just yet. But I hope you found the talk informative anyway. We have a cohort of about 20-odd PhD students here in geography, here in the Elmwood building. And in non-COVID times, we have students come into the shared office here and various other smaller offices. So you start off in a big shared office with other PhD students, and then by third year you have a smaller office, maybe shared with one or two people, to finish off, to do the busy time of writing up. Okay, and okay, so Evans, you have an interest in GIS and climate. Well, that's fantastic, and my advice to you would be to identify some of our staff members who do research in that area. It's not me, but we do have people researching GIS and climate. So I would actually encourage you to look for those people and drop them an email. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording there.